Morning, guys. Here we are again. And quick question today: does discipline equal freedom? So, freezing. Winter's here. A couple of weeks ago, I was doing a 5K walk, and then I changed it because the weather wasn't great, and now I'm here again. Why is that important? Is discipline the answer? What else could be going on? And how do we use this insight, this awareness, to achieve our goals? So let's jump straight into the question: does discipline equal freedom? You might say yes. You might be watching this thinking, yeah, I want more discipline. Then I can achieve my goals. Then I'll be happier. Perfectly valid. In fact, before I created the Peak Performance Project, I was going to name the program The Disciplined Man, because I think there's a huge value in learning to be more disciplined in key areas of our lifestyle. I definitely think there's a value in it. I'm not going to say no to that. I think maybe we always want to be more disciplined in some ways. I don't know. In any case, my good friend said to me, not too sure about the disciplined man. And I was like, okay. Why would you say that? Like, thought it'd be a good thing? He said, well, sounds a bit like chicken and broccoli. You know, the diet that you do for a short period, then you go back to where you started, or the one that you don't like, or the one that you just never really got into. You know, one of those quick fixes, one size fits all. Or maybe it's like, do this, do that, do more, like all of that type of crap, right? And I was like, right, yeah, I get that. Definitely not what I see discipline is, because there are levels. And just to kind of sidestep a little bit, I've mentioned numerous times about the all or nothing mindset. How it can help us, how it can hold us back, how to use it, but how, once again, it's not a magic pill, it's not a panacea, it's not the solution to all our problems, etc., etc. So, as you can tell from this video so far, I'm kind of floating around a few different subjects as a way for us to see that perhaps any and all of the things that we talk about are just simple tools. They're things that we can just be aware of, use, pick up, and drop down, and maybe, just maybe, the ability for us to be flexible, be adaptable, bounce back, to have that discipline, use it, but also know that it's part of a given process. Examples are all around us. We get up, we have a day, do what we need to do, we go to bed. And nothing stays the same. You know, I've changed my morning routine. I've been like, right, okay, well, I'm not going to walk 5K every morning and get snowed on, so I'll change what I'm doing in the morning. And here we are, a new structure. So it's A, having structure, B, being flexible, and C, being okay with the above. Now, you might be thinking at this point, great, awesome, not very useful up to now for me, for where I am. Well, if you eat more on a weekend and less on a midweek, and perhaps that irks you, that angsts you, that causes you some frustration in the sense that you want to be good at the weekend, maybe that intention is where the problem lies. Weekends are different. I I know when it's a Saturday. All right, I know when it's a Saturday. I get up. Where did that come from? I get up. I feel different. I feel different. Like My body knows it's a Saturday. I'm just like, it's different. So, discipline equals freedom in what context? To what purpose? What's our motivation? Why do we lack discipline? How do we even know? Like, what do you mean? If we say, for example, and discipline equals freedom is a great quote from Jocko Willink in the book Extreme Ownership. And in that book, he mentions about something doesn't go well, like it's on my watch, taking ownership. Examples will be our fitness motivation, our exercise, our diet, like taking ownership of those, not internalizing them and making them about us, but actually having the self responsibility to say, this is my problem. I'm going to fix it, even if it means I'm going to get someone else on board to keep me on track while I do the work, right? That's a very powerful place to be. And that's a very fantastic reflection if that's where you are. But upon writing that book, Extreme Ownership, towards the end, as he went all over the world delivering these talks, he recognized, which, it does happen, it's happened in lots of different ways. He recognized that people, ducks are kicking off. He recognized that people took extreme ownership to the extreme. They made everything. I'm good. That's my problem. All right. So they took a framework to the extreme to the point where it then becomes the limiting factor. Is a famous quote, which I've no idea where it comes from, but it's your strength becomes your weakness. And examples of that, like say you've lost weight in your 20s, you've been really fit, you might have competed internationally, and that's just, that's something I've experienced. And then you've got no fitness motivation, you can't be bothered. And what we've done there is we've reflected and we've took ownership, but there's an inaccuracy because again we've gone into that kind of all or nothing thing once again. So at the end of that book, Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink, I definitely recommend it, by the way. He recognized that morning. He recognized that people were taking things to the extreme in the sense it was internalizing that, identifying with it, and then they was closing their minds to the potential options of further growth, development, success because they wasn't open to change. All right, so they was becoming more rigid, and over time that can build up, that can cause us to, it can affect our wellness, it can then limit our progress and create a lot of judgment in what we're doing or what we're not doing and how we show up. And then that, in essence can compound the initial problem, right? Because, and I'll loop it back around to in the 20s. So when I was in my 20s and I'm doing what I'm doing, like I didn't have the judgment because I've never been in my 20s before. I was doing things I've not done before. So I didn't have that frame of reference about the way things was because I was at that point. 30s and 40s, you have the frame of reference of things that worked at the time, which you then use as a way of manipulating yourself because you're not doing the things that you believe worked, even though that's ages ago. So it's kind of a real, I'm not going to swear, but it's a bit of a head kind of twister, right? So the second book is that Jocko Willink wrote is The Dichotomy of Leadership. And that's where, yes, discipline equals freedom, absolutely, that can be a framework. But then if you want to be flexible, want to be present, want to be in the moment, want to actually feel good as well as do all the things that involve actually having a life, then and I'm sure it mentions it in a Dichotomy of Leadership, but I've not read that. There's a value in rolling with the punches, like being present, pulling ourselves back. As I come towards the end of this bridge, I'm going to give you something which will help you with that. So if you want to be more disciplined, you want to drop your body fat, you want to improve in your mindset, and you want to look at leveling up your lifestyle and having better habits, then being disciplined is fantastic. I definitely say go and do that. I'm never going to say don't do anything, right? I'm never going to say don't do anything. Okay, it's very rare that you'll hear me say for you not to do something, all right? I don't like absolutes. However, that said, I reserve the right to change my mind. I'm going to give you some quick tips before I go back home. And it's to, yes, be disciplined. Look at your daily non-negotiables. Look at your habits. Track your progress always. Have a clear goal. Like, do all the things that I've said before, but reflect. Reflect. Am I comparing that to something that's not serving me? Is this is that a distraction in itself? Like, am I looking at other people? Like, we're all individuals. If I see somebody else doing really well, like, my brain's naturally going to compare, but does that help me? Like, no. So in that case, it's helpful for me to reflect just to see what's going on. And then I can be flexible. Because what we want to be doing is achieving the long-term goals. So imagine that you're here and that you want to get to there, and that's a long-term goal. Relying on discipline and motivation and structure and systems and numbers, that's possible. You can do that. Seriously, you can. It is definitely possible for you to achieve whatever goal you set in your health, in your lifestyle, in your business, for example. You know, you can get the body that you want. You can definitely do that. But unless you're actually having a life and rolling with the punches and being present and enjoying the process, you'll get to this point and be miserable. Number one, that's not good. But then if we just go a little bit further and go, what happens next? Well, if you're miserable, maybe you just go back to where you started. Maybe that's what we've done in the past. I know I have. All right. So that's my first video back. I've got a new morning routine. I'm welcoming the winter. I've said goodbye to summer. Bit of a shorter walk. Hopefully you got a little bit out of that. Book recommendations today: Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, The Dichotomy of Leadership, and I'm sure there's a few other books that I've mentioned. But I'll speak to you very soon.